I'm Jamie J. Carr.
And I'm Richie F.
And this is the One Leg
One Eye
Podcast.
Here. It's not often I've had a long black pole poking into my mouth.
Right, we'll do a clap.
It's been
What episode is this?
16.
16?
Yeah. I love how you never forget.
I know. Right, do you want to introduce it?
Well, welcome everyone to the to episode 16 of the
One Leg
One Eye
Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't introduce our guest.
Well, I was going to leave that up to you.
Just leave him sitting there.
Will I introduce myself?
Yeah, go on.
No, you better introduce me.
No, we're totally professional.
I don't know what to say about myself.
I hate when people make you do that, where they're like, tell us about yourself. It's the hardest thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, because you've either nothing to say, or if you start, you could be there all day, and you could be sorry, you could be regretting that you asked me in the first place.
You tell people like your whole life what you had for your dinner and all that day. Do you ever do that though when someone says how's your day, just to wind them up, and you tell them every specific detail about your day?
I'd veer off as well. Like I'd start on telling them how I had me dinner, and then it'd end up about the stuff that I was doing yesterday in the bedroom.
And the bedroom?
Getting changed,
and the instant playing the skin flute. And the instantly regretted. I actually that reminds me of a story, lads, that I remember asking this fella that I knew. He had something wrong with his shoulder, and he was telling me about the operation that he was getting done to his shoulder. And I'd say you could physically see me just like drain into the distance, and he kept going on and on and on and on. Eventually then he got me back by saying, anyway, he said, I can really tell you're interested, you prick. and he just walked off, and that was it.
Yeah, I tend to do that a lot with people you're familiar with when they're talking to you. I've ADHD. I've only discovered it, and everyone's saying to me when I tell them, they're like, wait, you only know that now? We always knew that, Jay. But when I'm very familiar with somebody, sometimes I'm just looking at them, but I can't hear a single thing.
100%.
But I know when to nod and like smile, and
that's a subconscious thing. It's like, yes, yeah. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Martin Maloney, A.K.A Durkan from the Hardy Bucks. He's an unbelievable guy. He's unbelievably funny. But when you're trying to concentrate on something, I have developed this thing where I just nod and yes, Martin, and just to get him through. He came back from Sweden. There, we done a show in Castlebar Friday night, and he was all excited. And we were in a really small green room. And I have this thing where I just chill out for 10-15 minutes before the show. But that doesn't happen with Martin. So I'd say my head was just nodding, and I just wasn't trying. I was trying not to listen to him anyway, but we got through it.
Yeah.
I think I'm a Martin. I just don't stop.
Yeah.
So, Cowboy from 3 Books Left, how are you getting on?
Great lads. Yeah, all good. It's great to be here. Thanks for bringing me along.
It's fantastic to see what you have done with 3 Books Left. I remember going to your first show.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it was ago, but you came down and we did some sort of a podcast or something when you were kind of, I think it was the early stages of it, and it's grown a lot over the last year.
Massively so, Jamie. That was probably 2019, so we're not actually on the road long as 3 Bucks or 3 Bucks Left. We tried to shorten it to 3 Bucks, but it's not happening. People are just still even myself, I'll end up saying 3 Bucks Left. But so we're just going to leave it at 3 Bucks Left. It's 2019, and then of course we had 2 years of COVID. But I actually think for the pages and for a lot of my videos, it worked in that favour, because it gave me so much ammunition to rant about and make fun of, and it actually was brilliant for the pages. And now we're back doing live shows, and we're bigger than we ever were.
Yeah. Was it difficult to obviously make that shift from being on TV and stuff, and to turn it into a live show, and then also to shift it from one element, like, which I know a few years have gone in different directions with it, to social media then as well? Do you know the way you're utilising the videos and promoting stuff that way?
For me, actually, surprisingly, no. And I was like a satellite character of the Hardy Bucks, but I got to watch all the lads doing it. I got to see what was working and what wasn't working, and then I just took the time, went back, kept doing videos, kept sort of crafting the videos and building the pages up. And now from the other lads, I suppose I learnt as well. With the Hardy Bucks, it was just when you're surrounded by continuously by hilarious and very, very quick and intelligent, smart guys, you either learn from them or you go home, one or the other. So I learned from them and brought French toast along with salmon, although salmon isn't much in it since he went to a better place. The poor man. He's not dead or anything. He just got married, which is worse. But
Richie knows all about that. Don't
very
Don't
good.
talk to me about it.
What's his name?
John.
Richie, would you do us a favour and just turn the audio levels down a touch for the middle one there?
Yeah.
Just because I think it's going to peak in the edit badly. But yeah, your videos as well now, where you're sitting in a car or you're in a garden or wherever you are, have really took off.
They did.
And I feel like, some people might think you just turn on the camera and record, but I feel like there's a lot more that goes into those clips than is revealed, and you don't have to reveal
that. 100%. Every one of them is different. I'd love to do a watch along and explain what went into that video, and some of them are just off the cuff. I think of something in my head, pull the car over and go with it because I know I might forget. Others, I might write a little script and work around it, and then some of them might take one take. Some of them I might do 5 or 6 times and still go back to the first one because it was the best. Yeah. Sometimes off the cuff and on the spot can work beautifully. Other times you have to craft it. Other times I might do the video. I dropped in this wink at the end of a lot of my videos, and I might nail the video, might nail the introduction, might nail the content, might nail the jokes, and then at the end I just don't nail the blink. Yeah. So it's sort of wasted, so I'll go back and do it again until I get it like that again.
Love the ones with the old sticks.
Yeah. That was another thing. There's a couple of beauties with the bramble wire or dried bramble wire, and it just looks brilliant. Again, it's for something different to visualize and to talk about, and some of them ones have been turned out some of the best.
Yeah, I think people are waiting on the wink, aren't they?
Yeah,
I certainly am when I watch. I can't wait for the wink.
I done a few videos and deliberately left out the wink just to see.
Still a little bit higher.
Yeah, on the middle one.
It won't subside for me.
Will it not? It could be fine. We tested it already, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I'd rather interrupt it than get to the end of the podcast and it's gone. Exactly, there's nothing there.
It's happened many times.
Is the bottom one gone as well, Richie?
It's still a little bit low. That's the one that we switched mine with yours.
There's nothing appearing there at all, is there?
Lads, just chat away there for a
second. Yo. Is it popping up at all? Because I can't see that side of it. Yeah, it is. Oh, right. Sorry.
Do you want to say a few kind words from me?
Now night arrives in her purple legions. Retire to your tents and to your dreams. For tomorrow I enter the town of my birth. I want to be ready.
We'll leave this in just to show people how podcasts really work and what happens that you don't see sometimes.
I think we only talked about this last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
We only mentioned some things about this last week.
Sometimes the magic happens in them brief moments.
I think it's a magic is still happening, but yes, I love them videos though.
Yeah,
I think there's something authentically Irish about them videos as well. Like, I think I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people watching it are outside of Ireland as well that watch.
100%, especially English speaking countries, America, Australia, Canada, and the UK, obviously. But as I was saying about the wink, I actually deliberately left out the wink a couple of times to see but everyone was like, "Where's the wink? Where's the wink?" But again, it's great. It's great for the algorithms of the page, because if people are commenting that, it sends the video much more. But so I learned not to leave out the wink.
That's brilliant. You should do like an hour-long one where you don't blink till 59 minutes.
But the problem with the wink is now people expect it on the live shows, right? Or they expect it in pictures. It doesn't fucking work on a picture, because a blink is a split second, and what happens is, if you have to try and maintain the wink, your other eye gets lazy and it starts to close as well. So you end up with two closed eyes for the picture.
I know all about the lazy eyes.
Yeah. As soon as I said that, I was like, oh shit.
I think we're being there we go, didn't need them anyway. I think we're being disrespectful by calling it a wink, though. It's almost like you caress your eye in a beautiful, majestic way.
It is, and it'll probably match the video. The way I work it is, if I've said something really, really naughty, or I shouldn't have said, and I know that I've pushed the boat out a little bit, what I'll do is this really, I think to yourself, this is the way I was trying to explain it to Fred Cook when he was trying to learn how to do the wink. Think of something that you've done in your life, naughty thing that you've done in your life, and got away with it, and then just do the wink, and it just works. It's just like a really subtle, naughty wink.
Yeah,
it just works.
I love it. So how are the live shows going? I know you have a big one on tonight, actually, and when this comes out, it'll be over and stuff. But people can catch it again, I'm sure. Check out the page. But how are the live shows going?
I live for the lives. I love the lives, and they're getting bigger crowds and better venues. And now we're branching up into the UK. We're in the Grand Social tonight. It's as a $3 left live show. It's our biggest audience so far, even though we might even only be a couple of weeks in Donegal is a even bigger venue again. But as of now, this is going to be our biggest show as $3. Obviously, we've done stuff with the Hardy Bucks and Owen Colligan. We were in venues like we were in Vicar Street, so that'll tell you how big that went, and with Owen Colligan as well. But as a $3, it's just getting bigger and bigger, and I live for it. There's a load of energy to it. We've twitched it around until we get it right, and we'll keep twitching it around and keep improving it, and that's the beauty of it, especially when you're with the likes of French Toast A.K.A Peter Cassidy.
Yeah,
he brings another energetic dimension to it, and you just don't know what he's going to do. In fact, there's a brilliant intersection in the live show that I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to come to it. That just came out of the blue. It is just a showstopper near at the beginning of the show, and that was born out of complete just improv, and we just said it's so good that we have to keep it in. So you're just going to have to get to a show to come and see
100%, 100%. How would you describe a $3 show in a little in a bite?
If I was to describe it, it's like it's a show for all the senses, and it really is. There's times when we have you up doing exercise. There's times when you will literally just belly out laugh, and then there's times that you'll be just left shocked. You just don't know where to put yourself, and it's an eclectic mix of comedy and energy.
Love it, man.
Actually,
Love
that's I'm going to use that in the bio.
There you go.
Eclectic mix of comedy and energy.
We'll send you a clip of that if the audio is working.
But,
is it all right, Richie? Because he keeps seeing you looking at it.
I don't think it's tracking. But
Okay.
just a quick question for you.
We can cut that part out.
How much improv do you use? Like,
Do you want? Hold on,
the
Richie. Do
whim?
you want to start that question again? Just because I was talking over you.
Alright, hold on 2 seconds. I'll just fix this real fast.
Are you sure now? Because it feels.
Go on.
We can cut these little interludes out.
No problem at all.
It's recording anyway.
It doesn't. What do you mean tracking?
It's not like moving along with it. You get me?
I don't get you.
It is recording.
What do you mean it's not moving along with it? What?
I'm at the fix it. I'll look. The audio,
Like
way
the
it
heartbeat thing.
records it wasn't moving along with it, so you couldn't see how loud this was being.
I get you.
But all done now. So again at the live shows, how much of it like would you reckon is improv, or do you use a lot of that to cut in if someone is, you know, dragging their heels a little bit?
Yeah. The thing is, we usually have a man called Terry, a beautiful human being, Terry Norman, that opens up for us, and we have like a relationship with him, not a sexual one. So we sort of know what we're doing, and sometimes it's hard, especially when you're doing 2 or 3 shows in a row. It's hard to get that energy up, but we will work at each other. If one is dropping along, we'll bring the other one along, and we're never going to say, "Listen, you fucked up there," you know, because we know that we're only one show away from fucking up yourself, if that makes sense. So you're only as good as your last show, and you put that energy in. And as for improv, it's probably 75% a plan, and then 25% improv, because every crowd is different. You're always going to get people shouting up at you, and then the thing is to try and relay a quick quip back to them. And sometimes they're the best bits of the show. There's been some brilliant interfaces with people in the crowd that just unbelievable work, and sometimes you get to do that interaction with them. Then sometimes it's French Toast, sometimes it might be Terry, and then you're in the back and you're thinking, fuck, that's brilliant, you know, I wish I could have thought of that quickly. But the thing is, for that to happen, you have to be quick. If you do it 5 seconds too late, the joke is gone. It has to be there, and then you have to be sharp. For example, we done 3 shows last weekend. We were in Castlebar, we were in Tullamore, and we were in Limerick. And by the time we got to Limerick, the show was tight, but the brain was dull, if that makes sense. So if the show had just ran as it was, and we give it our loads of energy and exactly how we wrote it or how we planned it, it was perfect. But for me, I was dull, so there was a lot of interaction with the crowd. It worked. Everyone loved it. I couldn't believe it. I was a bit off the pace there. Or maybe it's just the form that you're in as well. I was a bit off the pace there, but everyone loved it. But I know that if my brain was sharper, because if it was the first night, that would have been better, or it would have been quicker and better at that. But that's just the way it goes. Everyone went home happy. I went home happy. The boys went home happy. And that's all you can do. You can't beat yourself up too much either if there is a bad show, because there's always a show that you can improve on the next time.
Do you party much when you're doing it?
Yes.
Yes.
Something that we need to work on, as in not do it as much, because there was times when you do the show and one of us wouldn't drink, and then we'd drive home or whatever. Now it's became a thing that it's like an after party show, and it's became part of the show itself. People hang around just to come to the after party, which some of them have been crazy, and which is terrible for me and French Toast, or me and Pete, because don't suffer physically from hangovers, don't get headaches from hangovers, but the blues guys is just, it's really, really hard. I'd rather a hangover than that any day.
Yeah.
Any day of the week.
I think that's from stuff I've done, that's like really big, or like that you're looking forward to for a while.
Yeah.
I think even without the drink, that happens. You know, like if I've like, I had a big live stream that I organised with a friend of mine 2 or 3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, or was it even a week ago? I don't know, a while ago. And I always know there's going to be a low the next few days after.
Yeah.
Now I'm the same as yourself. Like, I think a lot of us Irish people do that. It's like we have our big night, and then afterwards we're like, right, I deserve these fucking 22 points tonight. Fuck it. What you know, I've put a lot of work into this, and we do that. But I think even regardless of the points, there's always that low point then afterwards, because it says it's like going up the roller coaster. You know, you're at the top,
have
it's
to come
fucking
down.
brilliant. You go down, but then you get off and you're like,
Yeah, it's
Well,
it's
we
like
have
that
to start again now.
That adrenaline dump just it's just depleted. It's gone, and you're left shit. You know, it's gone now. It's finished. That's why I probably booked so many shows, just to bring myself back up that energy again. But you're 100% right. Any of the challenges we done, it was the exact same thing. The running from Dublin to Mayo, the running the Mayo coastline, any of the smaller challenges that we done, the marathons from Achill to Westport. It was the build up to it, the anticipation, and anticipation is one of the best feelings.
yes,
You know, it really is. Anticipation of an event sometimes is better than the event itself, and certainly the come down afterwards. But when you finish a challenge like running from Dublin to Mayo, you wake up the next morning, and yes, you feel accomplished, and you feel that you've done this great thing, and especially if it's for charity. But by the end of the day, you're left, shit, I've nothing to look forward to, anticipate, wait for, train for, and it does take you them couple of days to recover and then bring yourself back to want to do another one, if that makes sense.
I think the exhaustion of the mind as well, like the endorphins that's running through you on the build up to it, as you were about saying, it's all making your body work, making your mind work, and I think it does. It gives you a kick in the arse the next couple of days, because it's just being so high, and then your mind is it's not even resetting. It's thinking, right, what's next? Like you're constantly have something on your mind. Like
Constantly, and that is it. It's the busyness of the mind, and you have been planning this as well, and you're 100% right. Your mind has been mentally so busy, like a duck. Like might be all right on above the water, but it's paddling like hell underneath the water, and you're going a million miles an hour, and then suddenly it sort of stops, and you don't have that. So then you have to fill that with other thoughts, and then you're left to your mind. And sometimes the worst thing you can do is to be left to your own mind.
that's fucking true.
And as Jamie was saying there as well, there's a lot that goes into behind the scenes to set something up, and that's like, I'd say when you're having an off day, because I have one too many off days, and I'd say Jamie would agree as well. He'd had some.
100%,
But
yeah.
it's when the camera is rolling and the mic is rolling, and then you put that smile on. You have to get the energy up and continue on. I don't think people quite know all the ins and outs of that, like, or even think about that, because if you're having an off day and someone comes up to you going, "Here, Cowboy, give us a photo with you," and you're like, yeah, go ahead. Like,
You've hit the nail on the head. It's like you're always switched on.
Yes.
I had an aunt coming home from Boston, and she's great crack, and she's mighty energy to her. And we went out for dinner, family do, and the amount of people that were coming up taking pictures, and she said she knew it straight away. It's like she was looking from the outside in. She said, "You always have to be switched on. You always have to be switched on, because you know if you're not switched on and you're a grumpy bollocks, it wouldn't be long until you get that reputation for being a grumpy bollocks, and it all makes a difference." I'd love to do it genuinely, and I do it genuinely. I try and be as approachable as possible. I'll never stop anyone from taking a picture or anything like that, and sometimes I love the attention, but then you're right, if you are down, it's awful hard. It's awful hard to get that energy and to put on that smile, and it's one of the hardest things to do, is put on a smile when you're not really smiling.
yeah.
And it's not that you're not being genuine. You're not being genuine. It's just it's mentally sapping sometimes to get up that energy to be always switched on. But you try and do it because you don't want to be a bollocks, you know.
And it's like as well, like, if you're known as the funny one, or that type of character that brings the crack, you know, if you're going to a friend's do, or you're going to the family dinner, or this or that, you want to live up to those expectations in a way, because you know, people are like, oh, you know, he's coming to the party tonight, it's going to be great, you know. And you want to fulfill that, and you want to bring people happiness and joy and a smile and a laugh.
And that's one of the best things about this, is that you know that you're making making people happy, but it's to fine tune you so that you peak for them events or peak at the live shows. It's to have that energy, but yet have that extra energy for them occasions, especially the live shows, because you know that they're there to see you. All eyes are on you or the boys for them 2 hours. So you know that you have to, any problems that you have outside of that venue or that show, you have to leave them at the door. It's a bit like when I started working for Aldi a few years ago, when things started to go quiet with the building trade, because I was a plasterer. It didn't matter what was happening outside the shop, you had to leave and be at your 100% as soon as you went through that sliding door. Simple as that. So, and that was a great thing about Aldi, actually. and you probably didn't think that I'd be talking about Aldi, but it gave me, it disciplined me in that respect, and it gave me that sort of discipline to plan out things and pull yourself together when you need to. So, yeah.
Fair play, Aldi.
Yeah.
They might give us an L voucher, will they?
You never know. They're as tight as 2 coats of paint when it comes to that sort of thing. So
is there any funny moments that people don't see on stage, or any embarrassing stories, or something that sticks out in your head since you started these live shows with the lads?
There's been, like, sometimes the pre-show antics is just as funny as the show itself. I remember our first show back. There was actually another one's popped into my head. Our first show back for one of the tours, we were going to Athlone, and myself and Pete are notoriously late for everything, and we were so happy that we were on time, like we were really chuffed. And next thing, we were just about to come into Athlone, or very close to Athlone, and whatever Pete said to me, then I remembered the gear.
Oh no.
I remembered the fucking gear, and I was like, he said, what you forget? And I said, everything. I said, I cleaned out the car a couple of days ago, and I left everything behind. I said, I forgot to fucking put it back into the boot. So I literally done a U-turn. He said, what'll we do? I said, I said, I don't know what to do. By the time we get back and back again, it's going to be past the time the show was meant to start. So what I had to do was, I done he said, go back. He says, what's the point in doing the show if we've no fucking gear? So we done a U-turn. I got my sister to grab the gear and meet us, but we nearly got home. By the time she'd grabbed all the gear and into her car, we'd nearly got back. And she met us, and we got back up to Athlone. The show was meant to be starting at 8 o'clock. Now, I know you're left with a bit of grace, especially in an Irish show, because Irish people are always late for the shows, for live shows. Simple as that. But we got in at 7 minutes past 8. We landed at the venue. We walked past the full crowd. It was a full show, sold out, and we had our spare bags and Dunge Stores bags with all our gear in. So we made a joke of it, and we put people off for about 20 minutes until we gathered ourselves. But it was a brilliant show. Lucky enough, that was the first of 2 sold out shows in the same venue, the same weekend, Friday and Saturday night. So we blew it out of the water both times. So that was one particular incident. And then we were again at the start of our new tour. We were in Newbridge, in Kildare. Yeah, Newbridge.
Yeah.
We'd got up again. We were even earlier. We were and Mikey Salmon was with us this particular time. We got to the show, and we were 4 or 5 hours to spare. We were going to really chill out. This is what we always planned: chill out, walk around the town, chill out, and see what the crack is. Landed to the gig. I was bursting for the loo, or to the hotel we were staying in, bursting for the loo. I threw the keys at Pete, and I went to walk away. And he said, hold on. He said, you can't be that bursting. He said, I'll go in with you. He said, just wait, give me a second. So, and when we got out then, it was a completely different day to the west, and we had jackets on us. Pete got out, put the keys in his jacket, and then by the time he was walking across the car, he said, fuck it. He said, I don't need the jacket. The door was open. He threw the jacket into the door and banged the door. And I said, grand. And next thing Mikey said, oh, hold on. He says, I need something from the car before we go in. Went to open the car door. Locked in.
Oh.
Locked in. I couldn't fucking believe it. And all the gear was in the car. Like, again, all the gear for the show was in the car. And we couldn't get in. I wanted to smash the window. I ran in, had a piss, came back out. I wanted to smash the window. Pete said, no, we'll try. And there we were with clothes hangers that we got from the hotel, trying to get in to try and. But apparently, the newer cars, you can't. Even if you done that, it doesn't matter. Even if you hit the button, it disables it, and you actually need the key. You cannot open it like you used to. So we had to ring Lock Doctor, and he came. And in fairness to him, he was going to charge us, I think it was €200, but when he seen who it was, he charged us €100. Fair play to him. Shout out to Lock Doctor. And eventually, just in the nick of time, we're not destined to be set up for a show in time. It's as simple, and I knew then that I just give up. So no matter how late we are, we're just going to bounce with it.
It's just that you just keep forgetting that gear or locking it in places.
What
gear do you bring?
That could be just an Irish thing, could it? Because we're the same.
It is. It's an Irish thing. No matter how much time you have, an Irish man will have, he'll still be late. He'll just leave it to the last. We procrastinate something. Shock. We procrastinate so much. But on a different note about live shows, I remember going to a live show with Martin Maloney, and Martin one day could be military in his thinking and his precision and his organisation. The next day he's just all over the shop. Well, this was all over the shop one days. So we were in Galway, and Martin hadn't promoted the show. That's another thing I want to say about the live show. No matter how big you are, every show needs promoting. Every show. So that's why you'll see on the pages, on the $3 pages, that I'm always pushing a show or always do a quick video on the stories or whatever, because people need reminding. They say that a person, for them to buy a ticket, the average is to see that it's on 7 times.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the same with a charity event online. They say that the average for people to actually put their money into the charity or buy the ticket, that they have to see it 7 times. So it needs a lot of work. There's an awful lot of work that goes into actually selling the tickets. No point in doing a brilliant show if there's no one there. But anyway, Martin hadn't promoted it, and I think there was only like 18 tickets sold for the Roisin Dove, which is a big venue. 18 people in the Roisin Dove. It's a waste of time. So he decided an hour before the show that we go up Shop Street and try and get people to come to the show.
But I love him for that, though.
But Martin forgets that people have plans. You know, we're not 16, 17, 18, 19 anymore when we can drop it at the hat and head off somewhere else. People have plans. People need to know what's going on. It's very few people that will do that these days. People have busy schedules. So that was never going to work. But he, in fairness to him, he never gives up. And next thing, the show was meant to be on at 8 o'clock. It's 10 minutes past 8. Martin goes and orders a pint in Naughton's, like 3 streets away. And I was like, Martin, I'm going down to the show, because I was opening up. So I opened up the show not knowing if Martin was even going to bother turning up for it. But eventually about 35 people came to it, and I'd say about 5 minutes into my set, Martin docks in and he just walks on stage. But that's Martin for you. That's just the brilliance of him. And he can do that. Whereas I can't. Like, I'd have to be really sharp and on top of my game to go up on stage without anything planned. Martin can do that.
Nothing rehearsed.
And he'll just roll. He'll just roll. Nothing rehearsed. Some Martin's best shows. Now, sometimes it doesn't work, and you'll know it doesn't work. But Martin can potentially do that and bang out unbelievable stuff, whereas I need some sort of structure to it. I know the whole show is madness, but there's some sort of structure, like organised confusion. But Martin can actually do that without having anything prepared.
I think he's one of the most underrated comedic geniuses.
Yes. He's a comedic genius.
On the Irish scene ever.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
You know, I know things have quietened down a little bit from recently. Since is he living over in wherever he's
Stockholm,
living? Yeah,
in Stockholm, yeah. But now he's home. He's home for these couple of weeks, and he will be home. And we're planning a show. We're going joining up with Martin and $3, and we'll plan something. And you can be guaranteed it'll be spectacular. But it definitely slowed down for him. Stockholm is not where a genius like that should be. I love Stockholm, but it's not that. It's a drier sort of environment. It's a drier city, whereas the Irish, English, Scottish, and there's some beautiful other cities in Europe that are just mad for the crack and conducive to our humour.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, Irish and English humour is the best in the world. Some of the comedy shows that have came out of both countries have just been phenomenal.
No, I would agree. And he's just so naturally funny as well. Like I do watch his he does do live streams on YouTube, and he's just talking away for 2 hours.
Yeah,
but
Martin can do that because he does suffer from ADHD, which is part of his genius and also his downfall as well. So that's Martin for you. Like he is just a genius and a great friend as well. It's just he's always running on high, but then he can crash, and I've seen the not happy Martin as well. I know that Sweden probably isn't the best place for his creativity wise, so his kids over there as well, so he's always going to be between Ireland and Sweden. Plus he was a big he wouldn't take the vaccine, so that's why he wasn't home for 2.5 years. He was very stubborn about that, and you have to admire that too. And he stuck to his guns. As for the jab, it was completely everyone's choice. If you needed to get around, you needed it, as simple as that. Like no matter how much we didn't want to do it, it had to be done if you were going to get in.
There was no choice. It was either you get it or you stay here. Basically,
exactly. So it's as simple as that. There was no way around it. So I would rather just get it over and done with, and be able to do what I was able to do from before 2019 or 2020. So
I was the same. I was the same. I didn't want to, but I'd rather me get it than me kids get it. The jab, and I was all against me kids getting the jab. I didn't mind getting it. I got the first one, and then the top up, and then not after that.
Yes, exactly the same. Did I even? No, I don't even think I got the booster. I just took the 2, because the problem was they done it completely arseways. They brought the booster out, right? And then they took away any of the liberties that you'd get if you got they brought the restrictions back in again. So it didn't really give any incentive to get the booster, because it didn't matter whether you had the booster or not. You could still only do what everyone else was doing anyway, whether you got the jab or not. So it made no fucking sense. I often say that the restrictions and the regulations that the government came up with didn't make any sense. They were about as useful as a chocolate blood plug. All right in theory, but try using it to stick in your hole. A lot of
it was senseless. A lot of it was just like, wow, every day there was a new meeting and there was different things they were doing and they were trying to juggle it, but
and they were so contradictory.
Yeah,
one person would come out and say one thing, another person would come out and completely contradict it. So what you need is a strong voice, and if you say something in a strong, passionate voice and a solid voice that everyone is singing off the same hymn sheet, people will get behind it. But everyone was getting mixed signals, so it was like you didn't know where you stood, and that brought in this, like, do they know what they're doing at all? So why should we now follow someone that hasn't a clue what they're doing? And it was obvious they didn't know what they were doing. There was no real leadership at all.
And there was this thing of like, we almost became children in a way at one point, where it was like, no, 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
3 weeks, and After these 3 weeks, you can all do whatever the fuck you want. Just give
Yeah.
us these 3 weeks, and then we're
Yeah.
getting. And then we knew at the end of the 3 weeks it was,
It'd be something
you know,
else.
2 more weeks, and then I get to 2 more weeks, and then they go, oh, really sorry, but it's actually 3 more months, and then it's.
But exactly, and you could tell that you were getting near the end of the 3 months because there was these little sound bites, these little potentially it might not happen on June 18th. I just put that name out of the clouds, or that date. It might, it might not happen then, and then you knew then that there was going to be another statement coming up. Like, it was just like reading a book. They were so predictable. And they were just feeding all these conspiracy theorists. They were giving them ammunition.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you remember the voice message that was going around? And it was like, I swear to God, I work in the army, and there's loads of they're all getting everybody ready. There's going to be tanks on O'Connell Street, and you're going to be forced into your gaff. If you leave the house, you will be shot on sight.
There was loads.
Do you remember
of
them? And they were like, really, like, whoever was making them was a really good actor, because I believed someone, like, I was like, oh shit.
There was loads of them, and then there was like hospital workers that they're fucking burning bodies out the back.
Yeah.
Jeez,
It was like, how are you? My name's Trish, and my sister actually works in the Rotunda and in Beaumont as well. My other sister works in Beaumont, and there's actually zombies in the basement now. We've been told not to say anything, but look, I have to speak out. So if you could share this all around WhatsApp and let people know that you should put wood on your windows, because the zombies are coming for you.
That's the thing, though, about technology. It gives everyone a platform. It gives absolutely everyone. It's just like back in the 90s.
But you'd
you had fake news. It's on the news.
Yes.
It's not coming from any Joe soap.
Now it's so easy, but you would like to consider that. You would like to think that the human race is able to think for itself, and if people just looked after themselves and their closest to them, what a better world this would be. You sort of have to filter your own problems out and what information you let into your brain, and then you sort of you'd like to think that people are intelligent enough to make it up for themselves.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
But you need to turn it into a profit for yourself.
Yeah.
And we come up with this genius idea, because remember the War of the Worlds, they played it in like the 70s, I think it was, and everyone thought that it was aliens. We need to come up with our own.
Who was it?
Superpowers.
Who was that done War of the Worlds?
Oh,
Orson Welles, was it?
Orson Welles, yeah.
And I wouldn't be a big movie person, but obviously that's one of the most iconic movies.
Like everyone was like, lock yourselves in and stuff like that. But like, it seemed kind of similar though, similar vibes.
So easy to manipulate a race, Yeah. Never mind just one person. It's so easy to convince a mob that this theory is right. Sure, look, didn't like Hitler do it in World War II? I don't want to go down a darker tunnel altogether.
No, we can go down any tunnel you want.
Not only that. Did you ever see some of the social experiments where they set up cameras in an office, like in a waiting area, and basically they had 4 or 5 paid actors. So anytime someone would walk in, they'd all stand up.
Yeah.
And it'd be one person fresh in, right? So one person is not an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time the actors got seen, they were all unpaid people, random people, and every person that walked in, they'd stand up. And they weren't told to. They just seen everyone else doing it. So it's just like monkey see, monkey do.
Exactly. 100%.
I think, though, as much as we give out about the government as well, I think everyone was really trying their fucking best, in there to just make things work. And, when they're in them meetings, everyone has a different opinion, and the way it's fundamentally run is set up for failure in a way. When there's 12 people in there, and they're all from their different departments, and everyone's saying, I want the schools open, and then Mick says, I want the fucking schools closed, and then they have to kind of come to this weird convoluted agreement that doesn't really make sense in the end of these meetings.
The problem with that is there's maybe too many cooks spoil the broth. There's just too many people pulling no real strong figure, male or female, and that means that there's no there's no like too many people
Guidance.
to blame. You know, there's no I'm stuck for the word. It'll come to me. But anyway, like when there's too many people, it's too easy to pass the buck. Oh, that one said this, that one said that. So you need one figure to accountability. That's the word. It finally came to me.
Yeah.
There's no accountability when it comes to that. There's too many people making up different answers and regulations and restrictions.
But I feel like you could be Jesus Christ himself and be voted as Taoiseach or Prime Minister, and at the end of our President of America, and
it is a poison
at
chalice.
the end of the day, you're going to be hated, and people are going to go,
Yeah.
what a, you know, because ever since I can remember,
Yeah.
every
You are
president of America has been a shit president. Every Taoiseach of Ireland has been a shit Taoiseach. Oh, they did this. They had dodgy deals. It's like, you know.
It is definitely a poison chalice, and I know that I rant about the government and whatnot. Remember, that's a lot of that is satirical with a message in it as well. I'm not stupid enough to think that.
Oh, of course, though it's fun to write. It's fun,
exactly.
You know,
exactly.
and that's.
But I do know that the world has to work from some government or some authority. Like I'm not anti-authoritarian, but you just would love to see someone coming along with passion and compassion for the people.
Yeah.
That would mean an awful difference. Like you're not going to love every single rule that the government makes up, because not every rule is going to suit you. But if it's done for the goodness of the people, you would take a lot. You would accept a lot if you knew it was from the best place. But some of these deals are done, and I know for a fact that the Taoiseach probably isn't even running the country. You know, he has to answer to corporations, multinationals. So it is a poison chalice. But you would love someone with strength and compassion to be leading the way, like, you know.
Would you ever consider
I was about to ask.
doing that? Because you seem to have a nice, and I think that's, you know, we talked about the wink and stuff and the fun, but you seem to have a nice way of communicating, and I think that's why those little mini clips are doing well, because you can put things in a kind of poetic manner, which is, you know, is that what a leader is essentially, is somebody who can communicate.
It is, and I would like to think that I would be able to pick the people around me that would have the same sort of, and I have thought about it. Not that I'll ever be Taoiseach, but I wouldn't mind in a few years' time getting into politics. And that is the truth. I'm enjoying my life too much at the minute, and making too much fun of politicians. But further down the line, and not too much further down the line, I would love to give it a go, and that's 100%.
You'd have my vote.
Thank you. I'd have a lot of people's votes, but the problem is, it has to be in your own constituency.
Yeah.
So, and therefore, do you ever hear the saying, "You'll never be a prophet in your own land"? So, Mayo is the hardest sell for gigs and whatnot. But look, you never know.
I might just have to move to Mayo, so.
Yeah, or I might have to move up here, one or the other.
Oh, that's class, man. Yeah, so as well as that, like, just we never really discuss politics on this podcast or politicians, but it's fun to kind of delve into it today.
Yeah.
Do you know what really pisses me off is when, you know, they start like dragging up stories of, like, you know, oh, this Taoiseach or this Prime Minister, he had 8 points when he was 19, and he got his arse out and went, way.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
It's like, what do we expect nowadays from people? Are we all meant to be perfect?
Angelic.
Are we angelic saints who never had a night out or went crazy?
Wasn't that one politician that had to say that he smoked a joint in college or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, it's
And
stupid.
everyone was like, oh my
it's
God.
ridiculous, and that culture of, you know, blaming and on your past and looking back on videos that you done 20 years earlier. I mean, you can't account for something that's going to happen in 20 years' time. It's ridiculous, and that'd be fucking stamped out straight away.
But this is the whole cancel culture and how it's at the developing over the last couple of years, and
It's mental.
like because people react like, oh my god, you had a joint,
Yeah.
like how dare you?
And
I voted for you.
Yeah.
Like
It's ridiculous.
it's ridiculous. It is.
But
ridiculous.
that's a narrative that's pushed by the opposition or opposition people and using the media. The media will jump on absolutely anything, and of course they'll implode it, that it gets bigger and bigger, and really it's fucking nothing. Like, you know,
yeah,
they make something of nothing.
Yeah, it's like, look, I don't know anything about Boris Johnson or about English politics or even Irish, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the big deal over him having a couple of pints. Now, I know why, you know, people got very annoyed because they were told not to. But
Yeah.
just like, he had a pint, a couple of pints, like, you know.
100%. A lot of people have actually said, you know, why didn't I make fun? Like, why didn't I make skits of Boris Johnson and all that sort of thing? And I did it a few times in the beginning of doing, like, making fun of Donald Trump or whatever like that. But it's not relevant in our, you know, it's not as relevant in Ireland as Irish politicians and Irish public figures. And even though it might be funny, I didn't know enough about it.
Yeah,
So
same.
I wanted to be, if I'm doing you know, I want it to be factual as well. Or if it's not factual, then it's blatantly not factual. It's completely, and you can tell that it's completely fucking made up altogether. So I didn't want to start making comments about the English governments because I didn't know enough.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, it's not, you know, not my monkeys, not my circus, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But it's fun to watch and kind of go, what's happening with the world?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, 100 years ago, you could do what you want if you were, president or prime
Yeah.
minister.
yeah,
You were almost like a bit of a rock star. You know,
Yeah.
if you wanted to come
yeah.
after your meetings at home, God knows what they were doing. Do you know what I mean?
Worse, I'd say. But look,
definitely worse. Like,
his-
that's not right either. but-
history is wrote by the winners, you know, and
Yeah.
history will always be kind to the people that were at the top, because that's just the way history is.
it's all throughout time
Yeah,
as well. It's been like
exactly.
that.
Not just in the last 100 years, but for the last 2,000 years.
There's actually an Egyptian. Do you know about this? There's an Egyptian painting with obviously hieroglyphics on the wall, but it decaps a war that happened, and it was totally fucking totally made up by like they actually lost the war, and on this tapestry on the wall or wherever it is, they had that they won the war.
Yeah.
But they actually got ran out of the whole place. Like,
But I was going to say paper doesn't refuse ink, but neither does a wall refuse whatever hieroglyphics is. So yeah, it's very easy to write down on paper your event, your thoughts on what happened, but in reality, it's completely something different altogether.
It's fun to pick it apart though, and I do love your observations on that. And you know, obviously a lot of people are connecting with it as well and feel the same, and you're able to kind of in some ways be the voice of what collectively a lot of people are thinking.
Yeah.
but not like what I was thinking from the clips as well is that you portray it in a lens that we're all thinking, but you do it in a sense that, okay, that's what I was thinking, but I didn't know how to comprehend everything all together and
to
put
word
it
it.
together.
Yes.
There is a flow to them, and like I said earlier, sometimes that flow comes out in one take, or it's getting there. I'll work around it until the wording is all important. One word, like just the right word at the right time, can make all the difference to the message and the video. So you'll eventually carve it out until it's bang. It's there it goes. And like I said to you before we started recording, a lot of these are done in one take and one hit because I don't know how to edit. So it's one take, bang them up, and it works.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Maybe that was
yeah,
meant to be
yeah.
like that, and that's the route you found it, and and it works.
But
And, you know,
I think that's the whole, like, for me, that's the whole thing as well, is it's done in one take. It's not chopped, it's not cut.
Yeah.
It's you just flowing.
Yeah.
And it does seem like it's just rolling off.
Yeah.
Like whether it is done in one take or not, it just seems that it just flows out of you, and it's
but you want to
authentic.
do it as well. You want to do it as well as in a way that you're not angry, if that makes sense. Even though what you're
Yeah,
saying is angry,
Passive aggressive.
yeah, a passive aggressive way. Because if you're shouting into a camera and it's just like you're making it personal, that can be that can frighten people off as well. So you need to, as I said earlier too, you need to say as much in as little as time as possible.
Yours, it doesn't even come across as passive aggressive in my
Yeah.
opinion though. It's almost like you're enjoying.
Yes,
A
yes,
cheeky
yes.
nod.
He's
Yeah.
enjoying
Yeah,
the whole.
it's like,
the whole
I bet you didn't think of this
ridiculousness.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true, and I do enjoy it, especially when I have an idea in my head, or I might hear a funny line, and I'll build a whole video around that, just that saying, and I can't wait to work or carve out that video around that funny saying. And a perfect example of that is the one of where I came up with there's two bollocks in the Green Party, and Eamon Ryan is both of them. So what happened there was we were after doing a show in JJ Flannery's, our first time we done JJ Flannery's in Limerick, and we were invited to a different pub, Flannery's, for breakfast the next day. A beautiful breakfast, but there was so many characters in it, so many owl fellas that were just character after character. And one fella just stood out in particular. He was the loudest of the group, but he was brilliant, and he was brilliantly funny, and he was trying to get the barman's attention that he knew very well. And he just looked at us and he said, "See, John, there's two bollocks in this pub, and John is both of them." And I just thought, I have to use that. And I told him, I said, that is beautiful, and I'm going to use that. So, and that's where that came from. And then sometimes you just think of something really quick off the top of your own head. I use runs. I use a lot of runs to come up with sayings, and then I'll go back and I'll construct a video around it.
Nice. At least you kind of said it to your man. I'm gonna use that, because you don't get a lot of that in Ireland.
100%.
Take your shit.
I
and
was
just
like, I'm going to use that. He said, it's all yours, because he knew exactly all the videos he said, which always makes my heart happy. You helped us through lockdown. You got us through your humor, got us through lockdown. And he was one of those guys that came over, and he was like, the amount of joy that you brought in such a dark time. It was just he just made him happy, and for me that made me happy. And look, I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I'm not, and that's comedy. Comedy is completely subjective. What's funny to one person is not funny to another.
Yeah.
And you'll get an awful lot of trolls, no matter the bigger your pages get, or the bigger your videos go. You're always going to get people that want to bring you down, no matter what. But you have to know your worth. You have to know your worth and know what's funny, and stay the positive side of it, because some people's lives are so miserable that they just want to
project.
Yeah, exactly. And blowing out someone else's candle won't make your own brighter. That's one of my favorite sayings.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's so true, isn't it?
This only happened today with you. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So I'm doing a series called 32 Counties, 32 Questions. Now, there's nothing genius to this series.
Okay.
But it's mine. I'm quite proud of
Yeah,
it.
sounds good.
Where I go to a county in
Mhm.
Ireland. I plan on visiting every county in Ireland. I've done 10 or 12 now at this stage, and I've been doing it off my own back, for
Mhm.
the last 12 to 15 episodes, and I love doing it, so it's no problem for me to do that. But it can be difficult money wise, you know what I mean? So a couple of sponsors have, reached out to kind of to sponsor the videos, which is fucking fantastic, and I'm delighted. And I've worked for years trying to make that happen.
Yeah.
I'm not working to get the sponsors. I'm getting the sponsors so I can continue to do what I love.
Yeah.
Which is this stuff and meeting people and talking to people and that kind of thing. And it's just funny to see some people's perspective. When somebody does well, or when someone gets a little bit of a deal, and they don't like it.
Yeah.
So I posted the recent video I did is it's called What's Lovely About Leitrim. It's just me on the street asking people what's lovely about Leitrim,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and they bring the content, not me. They bring the humour, you know. I'm just the conduit of it. And in the middle of it, there's plonked an advert for Surfshark VPN, who decided to sponsor that episode.
Brilliant.
But you just see the comment section like, it would have been a good video, but Jamie J. Carr fucking ruined it with that ad for Surfshark in the middle of it. And I'm just like, have you seen anything ever, man?
Yeah.
Have you watched television? This very site you're commenting on has ads on it right now.
And we interrupt this episode of the One Leg, One Eye podcast to bring you an announcement from liquidmarketplace.io.
Yes, our brand new sponsor. Liquid Marketplace allows users to co-own some of the rarest and exclusive collectibles by fractionalizing assets, which basically means you could be part owner of some of the coolest collectibles that this world has to offer. Liquidmarketplace.io gives you the opportunity to own anything from some of the world's rarest Pokemon cards, sports memorabilia, and everything in between. They accept fiat and digital currencies, USDC, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, to name just a few. Liquidmarketplace.io. Own anything.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
it's a terrible thing, and it is an Irish thing.
Yes.
Begrudging. People hate, and that's why I haven't monetized any of the videos on any of the platforms. The only one we've monetized is YouTube, because it's a longer platform, and you know, it's our smallest platform. But and I didn't even want to do that, but the boys were like, no, we have to monetize one of the pages. Because that exact reason. I'll make my few pound off the live shows, because I know for a fact that if they get monetized or AdWords, that's exactly what you get. So there's no fucking point. For the few pound that you'll make, I have one video that has 30 million views.
What?
30 million views on one platform alone on Facebook. It is a short clip. It's just me drinking a pint, and it's a TikTok video actually that I just put onto Facebook. And never monetized any of them, because there's no fucking point.
That's not right though.
No, the Irish
not right.
are green in more than just the land. They're green in envy.
Yeah. It's a small minority, but it's a loud minority.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
But that's the thing. You'd bring so much joy to people by saying 100 million things.
Yeah.
And then you'd say one bad thing.
Yeah.
And it's like cancel.
Yeah.
Cancel that.
Yeah.
But it's like I liked these videos until you start making money off them.
Yes.
What the fuck?
That is it.
Like, what the hell? Like,
sorry for making you miss 30 seconds of your life there, pal.
Yeah,
hold on, I'm so sorry. What's his fucking name? I'm so sorry, Nick. I'll stop doing it. I'll stop taking money so I can feed my kids.
And it's not like you're making millions.
No, I wish. Look at the place I'm living in.
Well, look,
it looks great on camera, but out there it doesn't.
It goes back into making the content. Like you're
exactly.
not. Yeah, exactly.
So you can do more.
Exactly.
And make more and grow and be better.
Some
better.
People don't see that though. They just look at it. He shows up to the camera, he talks, he's pressing record on his phone. They just drag themselves to the live show, and everything is set up for them. You know, like it's not like that.
But all you have to do is this, look, and tap past it if you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now don't, liquidmarketplace.io are fantastic, and you can invest in Liquid Marketplace right now if you want, or own one of the rarest collectibles in the world. Check it out, liquidmarketplace.io. It's very good. Do you like Pokemon?
No.
Okay, well, it's not for you then.
Well, they actually have more cards than Pokemon.
Yeah, do you like sports?
I never played computer games, never was into any of them fads. Leave me out, let me do a bit of work, a bit of football. I like running now. That was it.
Nice.
Never into computers, never watched many movies, which French Toast or Pete always like slaps me on the wrist over. He'll be quoting movies and I'd be like, nah, never watched it.
Have you seen Titanic?
I did see Titanic actually, because I went to the cinema to see it. That's the only reason.
There was enough room on that fucking board for both of them. And she just let them go.
You're right.
And that's all. That's the only movie you needed to ever see. So
okay.
Well,
me and Jamie watch it after every podcast.
we hug each
Religiously.
other, cry. Yeah, it's just
Very
a
good.
little
Very good.
thing
There's
we
nothing,
have.
there's nothing wrong with a bit of male, emotional crying
Bondage.
or abundance. Did you say bondage? Whatever you're into, lads. Right, that's me done.
I think it literally is though, because I know you have to scoot on to another podcast now. You're doing look at you doing fantastic.
Yeah. Cheers.
Is there
cheers,
anywhere that you would like to draft people from here?
Yes.
Like any.
Just come to the live shows. Come to the live shows, and it's not for the faint of heart. And if you like some of the videos, you will love the live shows. And you'll find the videos on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're new on Twitter as well. But after that, I beg you. Well, I won't beg you. I won't beg anyone to do anything. But I'd appeal to you to come to a live show, and it will blow your mind.
There you have it.
Could you do a little spiel the way you do it on the videos, describing the One Leg One Eye podcast in your experience, and telling people to subscribe at the end? And you could put the wink whenever you want, or is that a thing? I don't know if I get on the spot. What is it? One-eyed, one-legged, or one-legged, one-eyed?
One leg and one eye.
One leg and one eye. Check these boys out. You won't regret it. And until the next time that they're on, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay away from yourselves. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There you go, lads.
Thanks very much, legend. Best of luck with the show tonight.
Cheers.
One
Jamie.
final leaving question.
Oh yes. Bonus
Bonus
question.
question. I have a lad that walks with me, and
Okay.
he's crazy about the 3 books and
Excellent.
the Hardy books.
Got
And he
good
was
taste.
wondering, was there ever any offers of more seasons, or how
We
did that go?
wait for this. We were given money, myself and French Touch. We were funded by an American dude called Alex, an absolute gentleman, and so was Martin Maloney. So the 3 of us were working on a new series, and he had £1 million or euro or dollars to
Jesus.
put in, and fuck me, the market crashed, and he lost a fucking lot of it. Now we got paid for the scripts, and that was great, and we were very grateful. But we would have rathered actually do the filming as well, and he was going to
Wow.
fund that as well, and that was. But it's still on the cards. The scripts are there. The thing is, we're not getting any younger, so we might actually have to just direct it, if that makes sense.
Oh.
Because we don't want to be like, we can't do the Hardy Bucks characters like we did 10 years ago or whatever. There is a time limit to what we're doing, but we will definitely be making more series. They might not be called the Hardy Bucks because there's a couple of people that own the rights and they don't want nothing to do with it. Some of them are past characters. I'm not going to name any names, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. So it might not happen as the Hardy Bucks, but it will happen at some point, at some name.
Through a different lens.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly, but the same humour.
There you go, Jer.
There you go, Jer.
That's brilliant. And if you need any extras or featured extras like a one leg and a one-eyed person,
We'll make it happen.
we'll
make it
we're
happen.
here. So
Definitely.
thanks very much for coming on.
Cheers, Les. Thanks for
really
having me.
appreciate it. I know we had a bit of audio difficulties today, so thanks for your patience, and
No problem at
we'll
all.
definitely get you on again and see how you're getting on.
Cheers, Jamie.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, guys.
That was cool. That was quite a relaxed morning one, wasn't it, Richie?
Yeah, we went political without going.
Yeah. Yeah.